Hey, so I decided to go ahead and show you all how I do my face. I'm not gonna be like recommending specific products, only because everybody has different skin, and like for example, I have combination skin, so what works for me is not gonna work for somebody with dry skin. What works for me is not gonna work with somebody with oily skin. So you really want to like get to know your skin to figure out what works for you, especially if you're gonna start dipping into contouring your face, because you don't want to put like harsh products on your face, anything that's gonna um, cause any sort of harm to your face. So I already uh, put a few things on my face. I don't know if you saw me rubbing this off, but I started off with a Physicians Formula. It's hard to see, the sun is here. But I did a Physicians Formula oil-free serum, and the reason why I choose oil-free is because a lot of the products that I'm going to be using um, sort of have like oils in them, and I secrete a lot of oils right here, so I don't really care to have more and more oil buildup. So I'll usually use that, and then right after it, I'll follow it with this is what I'm using right now. This is the e.l.f. Blemish Control Primer. The reason why I use that is because on top of um, having combination skin, I have sensitive skin. Uh, and you'll never see me like eating bone wings and like putting it against. I will pick. You'll never see me eating chicken like that. I will pick. I don't really care for burgers because of how greasy they are. My skin is just so sensitive that if any of the grease like touches my chin, the very next day I will have a breakout. I'm not even kidding. I will break out. So I put that next just to add a little safety for pimples and stuff because I don't want that. Um, right now, I'm sort of testing out some products because I haven't found a foundation that I really absolutely love. Um, I know that there's good foundations out there. There's Estee Lauder, Charlotte Tilbury. They have really good foundations. But if you know me, you know that I don't really like spending money on myself. So I'm not gonna go out and spend $40+ on a foundation. That's just not who I am. Maybe if I had all the money in the world, I completely would. But drugstores have really good brands. I mean, L'Oreal hasn't been around this long for nothing. So, but anyways, I'm using a couple because they just offer different things. And oh, I forgot to put that on. They just offer, different things. And I don't know, I just haven't found a foundation that has just everything that I'm looking for. Um, so I do use, okay, so anyways, right now I'm using three things that I'm mixing. This is L'Oreal's Infallible 24-hour wear foundation. I got it in, I don't even know what shade this is, honestly. And I usually and I always rip the freaking tags off. I'm using that with these two BB creams, and I like BB creams because they're light and they offer things like this one has salicylic acid, which is why I actually chose this one. This one has a good SPF, and that's why I chose this one. A lot of BB creams are going to be tinted, so um, you might like these if you're more on the light side. I found that any shade that I have found in BB creams usually is too light for me, which is saying a lot because I'm pretty pale. But sorry, I need to scoot over. I'm pretty pale. Um, but there's people who have, really porcelain skin, and those are gonna look really good on them. But I mix these together, and I'll actually show you how I do that. So let's start. I'm gonna just put it right here. You really don't have to put like too much. of products, but I do this. See, I don't put the same amount of all of them. When you really get to like know your products, you'll know how much to put on there. I know people watching are probably like, oh my goodness, that's a lot. But trust me, it'll be fine. I knew I should have braided my hair. I thought about it, but I was like, nah. So I just started applying it. There's no like, this is foundation, so you're gonna get it all over your face. I just like to make sure I have certain areas covered. Really, I get all the product off my hand first, and then I'll start. I got it off my hand, and then I will start doing this. And I always start because you want to make sure that you get where people are gonna see. So people are gonna see this area right behind the ear and around the ear. So my side burns. So I actually like to get the ear too. I got this a little damp. You want to just like get just a little bit. I don't use a setting spray, and I'll talk about that later. But I really don't use a setting spray. A setting spray is good though, to like spray it on there and have it just a little damp, because that's gonna really help move the foundation around. But putting the primer and stuff kind of helps that too, depending on what primer you get anyways. I'm currently in the middle of looking for a skincare routine that I can actually stick to. I'm kind of here and there with certain things. Like, I love serums, but I'm not cleansing. I'm not like cleansing right now, and that's really what I want to do, because I'm gonna be doing this makeup a lot more. I really want to make sure that I'm taking better care of my skin than I already am. And so if you don't have a skincare routine, like, start looking into one, especially if you're gonna start doing this makeup thing on a regular. Like I said, and I think a lot of makeup artists, I don't consider myself a makeup artist, I just love doing my makeup, but a lot of makeup artists will actually tell you that when they started, they really just focused on like the eyes and lips. And it's because, I mean, I feel like you have to be like really dedicated to makeup to start doing things to your face. I'm still scared. That's actually why I don't have a setting spray. When I say I am picky about the stuff that I put on my face, I mean it. Like, I will search high and low for months and months and months until I decide that I'm going to start putting a specific product on my face. Just, I don't know, I feel like that's taking a huge step, is just, deciding when you want to start doing concealer and stuff, because now you're like really doing something to your skin. Okay, so I did that. I don't know if you can see it. It blends out pretty well. If you can pick your foundation, picking your concealer and the darker like contoured parts of your face are gonna be a breeze, because for contours you want to go 2 to 3 shades lighter. And I say 2 to 3 because I there's reasons why I use certain products around certain times of the year. Like right now I'm gonna show you. So, I didn't even get, I'm all over the place. Did I get a dark one? Okay. So. We are going to use this one. Okay, for the concealer, Mila. So for the concealer, I'm using 2 at the moment, and I'll show you why. I have another one. So during the winter, I don't obviously want to look too tan, but I also don't want to look too pale. So I use 2 concealers during both winter and summer. It's really when it gets to the darker, when it gets to like the actual, dark contour, that's usually when I switch it up. But right now I'm using Revlon's Candid, and I have the vanilla, which is 010. Pretty pale. And I showed you this yesterday, the CoverGirl True Blend, and this is in porcelain. And I get this because I like to have this part right here a little lighter than this. So, but anyways, I'm gonna show you how I do this. So you really just want to look straight on, and I start from right here, not all the way into the eye because concealer kind of burns. So I just go straight down to the side of my nose and up a little past my eye. They're just gonna do a flick, and then I don't really do that much. Same on this side. No. And then a good guide to know is you don't want to bring this concealer too far past the arches of your eyebrows, because then your forehead looks like, wide open space. It's just no. But I don't even take it that far anyways, because I have a pretty small forehead, and I really don't need to take it as far. So I'll do this. And then you just want to go straight down your nose. You want to try and have a steady hand with this, because if you like go side to side, it'll make, like when people are staring at you, it'll sort of make your nose look like it's crooked. So I'm just going to look into the mirror. And I'm going to start right here. And I'm just going to go straight down. Just straight down. Okay. And I like to go right here too. And then I'll do like an X. See how I'm barely adding any product? It's because I don't really want like too much products on my face. So right here, I'll usually go where the bottom part of this opening is, and I won't touch it, but I'll use that part as like a guide on where I should start doing this part. And I'll just, and the same thing on this side. Pretty good. I know some people, okay, hold on, before I start saying that. And then I'll get this one, which is a little lighter than that one. And I'll take a lot of the product off because I only want it in a certain spot. And what I'll do is I'll just come right here and I'll just lighten this up right here a little. And I'll actually do that to all of them. Just a little area. I like to put this right there. A little right there. A little right there. And then I'll pretty much leave those alone. Okay. So now we're gonna start. Some people will do the darker part too, and then they'll blend it all together. I don't. So this is still a little damp. They stay pretty damp. Right here you're gonna get the smaller side. And I actually don't start with my eyes, so I don't know what I was doing. I start with my chin. There's not a specific like way to do it. You see how I'm dragging it up around my lips? And I'll sort of leave my lips a little open just so that concealer can get on there, because I think it's pretty nice. It helps the lips stay on there. So I didn't drag it all the way into the center because it's just gonna look like a complete circle, and then I'll start doing the center and going up into, you want to stay as straight as you can in this area, and I just go and pat it out and slowly go into my forehead, and I just stay patting. I'll turn the egg into the direction that it's going. I don't know, I just try and keep everything together. And then I'm gonna make sure I get this blend right here. And then I'm gonna come over here. And I like to pat and go down because I'm gonna shape this, so it doesn't really matter. Over here. I do the kissy face when I'm doing that part. When I'm doing the dark part, I'm going to show you, I don't do that kissy face, but I do it for this part. And then we're going to come into the eyes. And I just start right here because this area has the most product. So I just start right here and I'll start patting it out. And when it looks like it's blending well, I'll start, you see I'm turning the egg where the pointy side starts to face this way, and I'll go in that direction, and I'll come back, straighten it out, go back down, because you always want to come and like sort of grab product from here. And then I just go like, if you know where your cheekbone is, which is pretty easy for me to find because I have high cheekbones, but just going like in a triangle like that. And I don't mind to like put some of the concealer right here because I use that concealer. Pretty much the concealer that I'm using right here at the time, which is usually those. I'll use the same one when I'm doing my makeup in my eyes. So come to this side. And you want to stay as close to your nose, inside this of your nose as you can. A lot of the times, when you're first starting off, you don't think to look in certain areas like that. So later on, those are the areas that you didn't like pat down really well, and they'll start cracking. Those are like the first areas to crack. For me, during the summer, that's the oily area, so it will crack. Right now it's winter, so I'm pretty, my oils are pretty like stable. So this is where things change, and I'll show you why. During the winter, I will use this. This is the True Blends CoverGirl. It's just a little bit of a darker shade. This is Softly Honey. I'm light, so I don't need too dark, and especially during winter, I don't want it to be too dark. But during summer, I've actually been using this this Stay Matte Rimmel London concealer, and it's I don't know what shade it's in. I don't know what shade it's in, but it's a little darker. And if you look at it, if you like have them side by side, you could sort of see that this is more like more of a caramel color. So during the summer, it's like it adds like this, ooh, I tan type of deal, sort of. But you know, like I said, we're in winter, so you don't want to look too dark. So right now I'm using this one, and so this is what I'm going to show you. Let me move my hair back. Ugh, I look crazy. Okay, so some people are scared to do this because they don't really know how to do it. When you're doing these, you always want to look straight on into the mirror. So even right now, me looking into the camera is still pretty good. You want to look straight on into a mirror because the lights, the natural lighting, or you know, depending where you are, right now I'm in the living room and the sun's over there, so I am getting like a natural lighting. You can already see where your natural, the face of your shape is. The face of your shape is, the shape of your face is. Oh my goodness. Okay. So there's some people who do this and they'll do that. The thing is, when you're doing that, oh, they'll do the fish lips. Oh, that's when they do blush, but some people will do it even when they contour. So they'll, and look at what that's doing. I mean, it looks crazy to do that. So actually what I do is, to get a more natural look, is first I'll go, and you see the natural lighting of that, and it's gonna end like right here. So when I quit doing that, it's not like I went all the way down. A nice rule of thumb is to stop where it starts sinking in. So if you feel it, as soon as your finger sinks in like that, where like a dimple would be, that's where you would stop. If it's harder for you to find that, I'm always looking for ways that if I was to tell somebody else how to do their makeup, how I would explain it to them. So I'm always looking for areas around the face as a guide. So if you can't find this area, another rule, or not another rule, but another like quick guide that I didn't come up with it, I'm sure other people do this, but is that where the end of your eye is going down is usually where this little dip is. So just as long as you're, you know, keeping track of that and knowing where to stop, it's pretty good. So I'm going to show you how I do it. You want to take off a lot of the product. You don't want to put too much at once. Okay, so, and I'll go into the sideburn when I do it, but just gently. I don't push hard. I'm just barely gonna put it on there. See, I just barely put it on there. I don't really care to have too much makeup on my face. So right here, you're just gonna add, a nice rule is, if you don't know where to shade right here, find your arch. Think about how I do this is I actually think about a skull, and I think about where the dips and stuff in the skull are. So when you see a skull, you see this dip right here, and it's right after your arch. So I just do a little thing. Take out this product. I have all these baby hairs. Okay. I got some in my hair. It's fine. And then you don't have to do this. I actually don't think a lot of people do this. Then they actually show. But all I do is I go from where the bottom of my lobe is, and I'll find a nice shape right here, just staring straight down. See, and I just barely go with it. You don't want to press down. You don't want too much product. You can always build, but see. And my nose. And I don't have to do it with my nose, but if you personally know me, you know that I've always hated my nose. So, I mean, when you're looking straight, you can pretty much see where to do it. It's a little harder for me to see this in the camera, so I'm gonna look straight here. And what you want to do is, starting from like this point where it curves, you want to just make a straight line down. If you have, like, I think my nose is big. I think my nose is fat. So I want it to be a little narrower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go just a little bit in, not down the center, because you did the concealer right there. You want it to like glow. But I'm going to go just a little bit in. This is, you see this natural like shade. Well, I'm going to go just a little bit in on both sides, just to make it a little narrower. You just want to keep it straight. I will go back in there with concealer because there's I like to do something there. So I don't like for the concealer to sit too long. I mean, for any of the concealers to sit too long. So especially down here, So what I'll do is I'll stretch it like this, and I know it looks crazy, but I'll stretch it so it's easier to because if I don't, my skin, you know, I have a chubby face, so my skin is gonna just like keep moving. So I closer in here, I'll do it like down into the chin, but when you're getting further up here, I would press down and up. So, and you want to make sure you get all this back here blended. You want to blend. The reason why I push back is a lot of the makeup gives the illusion that your face is like, so bringing it back is gonna give that like, oh, she has a nice, you know, her face is, do you work out your face? Okay, we're gonna do the same thing here. A lot of the times you're gonna see me switch hands. There's certain things that I just don't like to do on my left side with my right hand. So I've taught myself to do certain things with my left hand, in doing my makeup. Dude, it has saved me a lot of time. I'm not even kidding. You don't have to learn to do everything with your left hand, but it does help when you know certain things. So I'm just gonna go here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sort of push the product into my hairline. A lot of girls will put like something on their hair so it doesn't get into their hair. I don't have a problem pushing it back, and I'll always go in there and take the product out of my hair. So you're patting it and pulling it back. Pat. You're doing it like that, and you want to stay right here till you get a nice blend, and then you want to drag it down into this area, and then I'll turn it back to this pointy side, and I'll go down here, and I'll start right here, and I will push and pull up. So push and up. And I'll do that till it gets a little bit blended, and then I'll start connecting this. And then I just slowly get some of the product up here, and then I'll come to this side and do the same thing. And the reason why I say blend it down a lot, like you're creating like a sort of like a 3, but it's a wonky 3. But blending this part right here to touch this, it looks more aesthetically pleasing to the eye because you don't have like two floating like lines or whatever. And then going to the nose, and what I like to do is if you have a big one and you don't feel like switching out and stuff like that, what I like to do is just squeeze it in a little bit and just slowly pat this, because you don't want to like get all crazy and end up just putting it into the center. So I'll just start, and I do this because it stretches out this to more of a, you know, a little flatter for me. You just want to pat it. Trial and error. My first time doing this, I put too much product. It was wild. It was just a wild time. Okay, I put a little under here. Oh, I forgot to do one more thing with that, but I'll go back and do it. It's hard to look directly into the mirror all the time because when you get close to the eye, I think you just naturally start to like freak out. You want to make sure you get it in here. Like really pat it out in there because, and like I said, you want to be turning your face because there will be products that you didn't even know were there. Okay, so I forgot, this is the darker one that I was putting like in the cheeks and stuff. I like to, my bottom lip is pretty plumpy, so I like to just do the, if you want it to look plumpier, just go right underneath it and put just a little bit of a shadow. So just put just a tiny bit. And I'll do it just a little bit right here. Right here. Just a little bit, it's not like too crazy. And this is just one of the areas that I go back into with the concealer because I've covered up some spots. And I use the lighter one, so the one that I would use closer into the eye. And I'm actually going to do a little bit of that again. I'm going to go right there. And just right there a little bit. You don't want to put too much. We've already put, you know, a good amount. Okay. That has a little dark on it. And I like to just give this just a little light because I don't really bake. I mean, if it's like an elegant look, yeah, I will. But for the most part, I don't. Like I said, I like more of a, I know that I'm putting makeup on, but I really like a natural look. So that's why I don't go like too dark on the products. You're just gonna pat this straight and just, you're just gonna pat this just a little bit into this area. You don't want to get rid of that darker shade that you put underneath there. You just want to sort of blend it so it doesn't look too crazy. And the last thing that I will do is go in with a brush, and I use this, it's a finishing powder. It's the Fit Me loose finishing powder. And since I don't bake, I try to get this more into my shade because I'm just gonna layer it over the top of all of that. So I'm just gonna do like a, just like, and what I'll do is I'll pat it in like, because it's like close, it's really close to my skin color. So I don't want to put too much, I don't want to cover up too much of that where I did the lighter contour. So I'll start in that part of that face, and then I'll start, see, I was patting it first, and now I'm like making brush strokes, because now I'm, that loose powder that it's gonna give off is gonna be the rest of the coverage for like those white spots that I don't want to cover up too much. And it is very important to remember your neck. You put product on that, you want to set product on it. So I'll start like in the center. And then I'll start brushing that product down. And then I like to get just a regular blush. And this is just like LA Colors. Like I said, I mean, there's cheap brands that have really nice products. That is still in my hair. So I'm just using the blush part. You don't want to put too much. I literally just did 1, 2, 3, then tap off. And when you're doing your blush is actually when I recommend to go. Well, I do more of this, but to the side. Because look, it's like if somebody was walking on my cheek, they would just drop off. And that's what you want, because the way I put on blush is I just barely tap that like bone. So I'll start where like the apple is, and the apple is going to be pretty much where the end of your eye is. And I'll just gently, you don't want to press, you want to just the bristles barely to touch you. And watch, you'll see what I do. I pat it on, and then I go back and I brush it off. So we did the 3. Hit it 3 times, and then you want to be very light with it. You don't want to put too much. That's why you want to be gentle with it. During the winter time, I like to drag this blush a little over to the side. So that's actually what I was doing. So 1, 2, 3. And then, like I said, because it's winter, I like to do a little blush on the nose. And then I'll do like 1. I don't like to do just a little blush on the eyes. Okay. And then this highlight that I'm about to use, I know I said like if you get me something for Christmas, I'm gonna use it, especially if I'm just messing around with makeup. So my sister got me this Profusion bronzer and highlight, and this is how much I like this. This was what I was using as like a finishing powder, because it was like perfect. The color was like identical. As you can see, I used a lot of these 2 right here for like contouring. So after I do the setting powder, I actually do like to go in there with a brown. It's winter, so I'm gonna go for the lighter one. And I'm just gonna do, I just do like everything. I just pressed it in there. So I'm just gonna do 1, 2, and I told you I have a thing with numbers. Numbers make me comfortable. And you're gonna start. I like to pat it into where the like sideburns are. So I pat it, and then I pat, and I'm going with the shape, and I'm gently patting because you don't want to put too much product. And I'm patting up here, and then I'm patting down here, and then I'm blending. See, I don't go back in, and you want to blend. I'm blending into my ear. I'm blending behind here. When I tell you I don't like to make it look like, I don't like to really put a lot of product on my face. I mean it. And let me set this down because I don't want people to be like, girl, you're getting that all in your hair. I mean, you do, but I know it looks like I have product right here, but it's just a shadow. It really is just a shadow. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. So 1, 2. Don't forget your neck. I use my cheekbone as like a stopper. So when I'm doing this, blending it, my cheekbone is actually stopping my brush from going into my blush. And then see, there's hardly any more product on here, so I'm just gonna go into the nose area. That should be fine. Okay, and the last part, the same thing. So I like both. This is more of a rosy color, so it's like a pinkish, and this is more of a golds color. Depending on what color I'm using. So today I'm actually going to be using like a brown behind it. So I'm going to go with the gold. And I know they have those brushes where you can do it, but I'm going to say it again. My favorite applicator for your face, fingers. So I'm actually going to use this because I don't want it to be, this is obviously the smaller side, but look at that. Look at that. And I barely put any on there. I'm just going to like wipe a little off. You want to be gentle because it is your finger, so it is going to pick up products a lot more. So what I'll do is I'll put my face to the side like this. And where you're going to put the highlighter is the highest point on your face. So when I do this, this is the highest point right here. So I know it's hard to see. And I'll come over here. And the product's still on there. I'm going to get that on my nose. And I'm just going to rub it like this on my nose. Because I don't want my nose to be too, like, I have pores on my nose. So too much of a highlighter is going to draw attention to that area. With the rest of that product right there, I'm going to go right above my eyebrows. So right here, right here. You don't want to push too hard. You just want to kind of get that on there. And then I'll pick up a little bit more, so I'll just do like one little swipe because where I'm about to apply this next is actually going to be right here on my nose. I like to put it where it dips in right here. It just gives it a cute little like shine. And then I'll just like to kind of draw away from a little bit of that product. And then with the rest of it, I'm just going to go right above the lip. And then very little on my chin. Sometimes I even like to use a highlight right underneath my eyebrow, but I'll do that later on when I do the eye. But I know it doesn't look like much, and it's because it's not. But that is how I do my face. This is a closer up. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm about to go do a smoky eye, and I'll upload that in just a minute. But this is how I do my contouring. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'll try my best to, like, maybe later on go back into the description and fit some of these products in there. So be looking for that. I'll see you later.